Come show your glory. Come show your face. Come light a fire in us. Breathe on this place. Your love pursues us.
Hey, welcome to the house. My name is Wes. My wife Vanessa and I, we're the lead pastors here. And wherever you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on YouTube, you're watching in Alaska, you're watching in Arkansas, wherever you're watching, we just want to say welcome home. If you have any questions about who we are, what we're about, what we believe, or how you can participate in giving, check out thehousela.org. By the way, if you're here in Southern California, come check out a service. My goodness, we would love to see you. I would love to see your face. I know that lots of our church watches these messages if they're traveling, if they're not feeling well. But if you're here in Southern California, my goodness, come check out a service. You can also find directions at thehousela.org. Hey, we are in today the last part number 4 of a series called The Shema. The Shema. And today we're talking about body by God. Body by God. And we've been going the last couple weeks of what does it mean to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And today we're going to talk about strength. Now, in the Gospel of Mark, chapter number 12, some Pharisees, they're questioning Jesus and they're peppering him with questions. Like, hey, Jesus, what about this? You said this, what about that? And in Mark chapter 12, Mark records a story, and Matthew records a very similar story. Luke records a story that might be a little bit different, most likely a different situation, but records a story of one of the scribes that asked Jesus, all right, what's the most important commandment? Let's jump into the text. One of the scribes came up and they heard them disputing with one another, and seeing that he answered them well, asked them, which commandment is the most important of all? Now, the Jews of this time, they had hundreds and hundreds of laws. Some of them tried to reduce them down to about 30 or so principles. And they go, hey, what if we just kind of, combine these all together? And here's kind of like some main thoughts. But there was still debate about what is the most important, or they would use weightier. Which one's the heavier? Like they're all important, but which one's heavier? Which one should be in the first place? And that's what the scribe does. The scribe goes to Jesus, says, which commandment is the most important? It's kind of like one of those debates. Which is the greatest franchise of all time? Which is the greatest restaurant ever? Who has the greatest album of all time? Okay? Jesus answered, the most important, everyone leans in, the most important is, and he starts with the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, and with all of your strength. And he says, and the second, they didn't ask him, but he goes, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Now, throughout history, not only the church, but the world has either put an overemphasis on the body or an underemphasis on the body. Certain times the church has said, hey, the body doesn't even matter. Let's just get you saved. Let's get you praying, speaking in tongues, baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost, all of that. And let's not even worry about the body. And then other times there's like this huge pendulum swing, and everyone's doing the no carbs, and everyone's, they're hey, my body is a temple, and they're doing all of that stuff. And there's a swing back and forth of how do I love God with my body? Now, Jesus answers with the Shema. They said, hey, Jesus, what's the most important? And he says the Shema. And this is taken from Deuteronomy chapter 6, and he also quotes part of Leviticus chapter 19. And the Shema was a prayer that Jewish people would pray every morning and every night. They would also pray it one of the nights during the Yom Kippur, and they would close their eyes and cover their eyes with their hands while they prayed the Shema, which is Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, which means, hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And that word hear at the beginning, hear, O Israel, that word hear is not just allowing kind of, the sounds to come into our ears, but it's actually a heart to respond. It's hearing with an intent to action. God does not just want recitation. He wants a response. He says, "Hear, O Israel, you are to love the Lord your God." And that word love is not just feelings. Oh, I'm so in love. Like I talked about, I'm like the movie Elf. I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it. It's like, okay, we're not talking about just a love that's a feeling that can come and go. Like a high school student writing that person's name in their, in their book. They're like, "Oh, I love him, I love him, I love him, I love him." And it's like the next week, "Oh, I love this person, I love this person, I love it." And it's like, wait, I thought last week you loved that person. What this word love there means, it means a deep loyalty and faithfulness through thick and thin. So when he says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one," and you are to love him with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That word love is this deep faithfulness. So what we're talking about is an active listening and a loyal love. God, I'm listening, and God, I'm loyal. He says, you're to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind. And we've talked about those. And today we're going to talk about how do I love God with all of my strength. That word strength there in the Greek means your power, might, force, ability, strength, or energy. Let me ask you a question. What and where do you spend your energy? Where do you spend your energy? A couple years ago, I heard this phrase, energy management, and it changed my world because up until that point, I heard about time management, but then I heard this leadership expert, and they were talking about energy management, and they were saying, what times of the day do you have your best energy? And I go, oh my goodness, I know exactly. So I was able to break down my day into, these are my really good hours for study. These are my good hours. If I want to really connect with our kids, these are the best hours for this. When I want to meet with different people in our church and connect with them, these are the really good hours for that. And it turned into this energy management system. And I go, this has changed my life. Like, this is a great way. What and where do you spend your energy? Have you ever done a budget, by the way? I think budgets are a great plan. I'm working on some content right now regarding finances and whatnot. But budgets basically tell us where we're going to tell our money where it's going to go. Because usually what happens is people who don't have budgets, they get to the end of a couple of months and they're going, I don't have any, where did it all go? Have you ever done that? Where did it all go? Like, I don't know where all the money went. The easiest thing is to always blame. So where did you spend all the money? And it's like, I didn't spend any money. You spent it, you spent it poorly. And so what they end up doing, that person looks at the budget or they look at their finances and they go, I need to start telling my money where to go before it's gone. All right, stay with me. I need to start telling my money where to go before it's gone. Because this happens all the time, is you spend all the money and then something comes up that's actually of great value to you and you don't have anything left to buy it with. You don't have anything left to spend. So what a budget does is a budget says, here are my values, and I'm going to start putting the money behind that, and then when I run out of money, then that's gone. But I'm going to make sure that I pay for the valuable things first, like food, like shelter, like clothing, like gas, things like that. What if you and I treated our energy like currency? What if you treated your energy like currency? So instead of being like, oh, I'm too tired for this and I'm too tired for that, what if you just paused and you looked at your energy like a budget, like currency? You said, where do I want to spend my time, my energy, my strength? If energy was a currency, where would you be spending it? Or another way to ask it, who or what gets my best? Does a job that you may be here one day and gone the next, are they getting the 80 hours of the best of you? Or a relationship or a sport or a habit or a lifestyle? Or what is getting the best of your energy and the best of your time? So the question is, what does it look like when he says you're to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength? What does it mean to love God with all of your strength? Is it like you just do push-ups at church? Do you go into church and you flex really, really hard? Like, oh, I'm just going to love God with all my strength. Like, what does it mean to love God with all of your strength? Let me give you some examples of what worshiping God with your strength, your energy, what it looks like. For a couple of years, we did a weekly food pantry as a church. We were participating in that for quite a while, and still to this day, some members of our church, since we stopped doing the weekly food pantry, they're participating with a different food pantry and serving them every single week. But there were people every single week serving God in the heat, taking groceries and putting them in people's trunks so that those people, those families, those individuals could have food for the week. They were taking their energy and they're worshiping God with that energy. It would be for others who are building homes in other nations or in poorer communities so that people who don't have a home could have a place to sleep at night. It's William Wilberforce in the United Kingdom in the 1800s using all of his energy to abolish slavery in his day. It's a children's ministry in New York that serves hundreds of thousands of kids by driving buses through all the neighborhoods and honking and creating a fun atmosphere. And they're using their energy to meet the needs of hundreds of thousands of kids. It's the Dream Center right here in Los Angeles that we've partnered with as well, that's going out to their neighborhood to help people get clean, help people get sober, help people get education, to help people get housing and food. It's people in our church who come every Sunday morning. They come early and they're setting up a classroom or they're setting out signs and they're using their strength and they're trading their strength to worship God with all of their strength. It's someone driving all across the valley to pick someone up for a Connect group, bringing them over to the Connect group, and then driving all the way back across the valley and then coming back to their house. They're using their strength to worship God. It's taking your physical currency of your strength and your energy and saying, God, I want you to have the best of my energy. Do I give my strength to God with worship and with heart, with love, or with reluctance? Do I say, God, you can have, all right, God, yeah, you can have it, fine. Like we're letting a teenager take the car out. Like, all right, you can have it, but don't mess it up, God. Or do I give it with love? When he says you're to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Of God, I love you so much that I want to go serve food. I love you so much that I want to go build this home. I love you so much that I want to go set up a kids class. I love you so much that I'm going to drive across the valley to pick up a high schooler for a Bible study. God, I love you so much that I'm going to worship you and love you with all of my strength. I'm going to take my energy as currency and I'm going to invest that into your kingdom. By the way, 1 Peter 4:11 uses that same word when he's talking about you're to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. When he says, whoever serves as one who serves by the strength that God supplies, in order that in everything God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. When we worship God with our strength, you know what happens? God gets glorified. God gets glorified. I want to be a person, and I would love for us to be a church that say, God, we love you with all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our mind, and all of our strength. Let me pray for you as we close. Jesus, thank you for what you're doing in our community. And God, we say that we want to love you with all of our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength. All that we are, all that we have, all that we own. Jesus, our lives belong to you. We want you, King Jesus, at the center of our lives. I'm praying for anyone watching this right now, and maybe they're watching at a later time. Jesus, if you're not the king of their heart, you're not the king of their life, you're not at the center, we just invite you in right now. You can even pray this simple prayer. Jesus, come and be the center of my life. I want to love you with all of my heart, with all of my soul, with all of my mind, and with all of my strength. In Jesus' name, everyone said amen. Hey friends, thank you so much for joining us on this whole series as we've been going through the Shema. If you have any questions, and especially if you want prayer, go check out thehousela.org. We'd love to pray for you. If you're here in Los Angeles, come join us for a service. The month of September, we have an exciting brand new series that we are doing called I've Got Questions, where people have submitted questions of, hey, I've got questions about God. I've got questions about spirituality. I've got questions about, hey, why did this happen? Or what about this or what about that? And so you'll definitely want to come check out one of those services. We're actually having a guest speaker in for one of those weeks. He's the president of a Bible college. So we're really looking forward to that time. So check out thehousela.org for all of that information. Lastly, I want to say thank you to those of you who've already joined us in that journey of generosity. I just want to say thank you so much. We can't do what we do as a church and as a community without God's blessing, but also without your partnership. We need your partnership. We need God's blessing, and we need your partnership. And when we give, it does a couple things. It worships God, it blesses us, and it helps others. So when we give, that's what it does. And so if you'd like to join us in that journey of generosity, you can check out thehousela.org/give. You can give one time, or it's especially helpful if you're able to set that up to reoccurring as well. God bless you, and I can't wait to see you back in the month of September here at the house.